everyone, Melissa Profit here, Education and Communication Specialist for the Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District. I'm here to share with you one of my favorite lessons, Lunch for a Bear. Lunch for a Bear is a lesson in the Growing Up Wild curriculum. More about this curriculum can be found on the website for the Association for Fish and Wildlife Agencies. Now, Lunch for a Bear looks at black bears. And in Ohio, we are very lucky to count the black bear as one of our state resident animals. But that hasn't always been the case. Back in the late 1800s, black bears disappeared from Ohio. They became what's known as extirpated or locally extinct. Now, before that, though, they roamed the forests of Ohio. And in fact, the forest is closely connected to the history of the black bear here in our state. 1803 is the year Ohio became a state. And in 1803, we were over 95% forested. We had trees growing across the land, and this provided space for a lot of animals to live. However, as more and more people started to arrive and live here, we had to clear these trees to create towns and build houses and build roads, to the point where we lost over 20 million acres of forest. Losing this habitat meant that a lot of animals could no longer live here, and this included our friend the black bear. In fact, the black bear disappeared from Ohio back in 1881. Now, the good news is that we started to realize we need our forests. So through protecting our forests and even replanting some of our forests, today, Ohio is around 1/3 forested. And in fact, as we brought back our forests, we started to see the black bear return to our state. So let's think about that connection. What is it that the forest can provide the black bear that lets it live here? Well, the answer can be found in what does an animal need to survive. Animals need food, water, shelter, air, and space. They need room to live. And let's think about a black bear. This is a large animal, right? An adult female black bear can get around 150 pounds. But the boys, those males, can reach between 300 and 600 pounds. Think about like a really big professional football player. If we look at the track that a paw print from a black bear makes, well, it's large as well. This is what an average paw print looks like for an adult black bear. And if I compare this to my human hand, you can see it's definitely much larger. I have with me here the hide of a black bear. And if I hold it up so that you can see, right, this animal is much bigger than myself. It has claws on its paws that it can use for climbing trees, for digging in the dirt to find food. And let's think about that food. What does a black bear eat? Well, a black bear actually has a very diverse diet. They eat a lot of different things. A lot of people will think of black bears eating fish or honey, and they eat that stuff for sure. But if we look at it, there's lots of other things that black bears eat as well. They eat other animals. They even eat bugs. But most of what their diet consists of are plants. That's right. Black bears are mainly plant eaters. 80% of a black bear's diet is going to be a plant. So if this bear eats 10 things today, 8 of those things will be a plant. Well, having this varied diet, it is influenced by what time of year it is as well. Because here in Ohio, we definitely experience the changing of the 4 seasons. Think about the season right now that we're in, springtime. Right? We're seeing new plants growing, bugs are out running around. There's a lot of food available for a black bear. But compare that to the season we just came out of, winter time. Winters in Ohio can get pretty cold. Our plants go dormant, we don't see those bugs out. And to survive this period, black bears actually do what's called hibernate. They sleep through the winter because they don't have that important food resource. Now, in order to survive that hibernation, though, it means in the fall, they have to eat a lot of food. Upwards of 30 pounds of food a day is what a black bear will eat in order to survive that hibernation. Now, The activity that goes along with this lesson is a lot of fun for students to do because it involves them becoming a black bear. This is how the activity works.
In the activity for Lunch for a Bear, food cards can be made that highlight the different types of food that a black bear might eat. You can choose to cut these cards out into different colors, any kind of variety to include for your students. Then each student is given an envelope which will serve as their bear stomach that they have to put their food cards in. Then each child is encouraged to crawl on all fours like a black bear to hunt for their food. Each student will place their den or bear stomach on the edge of the forest. Then they crawl into the forest to retrieve one food card at a time to take back to their den in preparation for hibernation. I like to remind the students that black bears, in this case, will be friendly black bears, so there's no growling or fighting over food. Once the black bears have been able to eat all of the food in the forest, that is when we will all return to our dens, sit crisscross applesauce, and get out the food cards to explore. Have you eaten all the food in the forest yet, Black Bear?
Yes.
All right, let's see what you've been eating. At this point, I will have them set their food cards out to explore what they have been eating. All right, little black bears, raise your paw if you ate any sort of a bug. Excellent. Then they can look around and see how many other black bears were eating bugs. Now paws up if you ate any kind of another animal, including eggs in a nest. Excellent. Paws down. The last one that I have them look for are the plants. So paws up if you ate any kind of a plant. It can be a leaf, a seed, a flower. When they look around the circle, usually most bears have their paws up. And we talk about how this makes sense because most of what a black bear eats is a plant. Good job, little black bear.
Once the activity wraps up, there's all kinds of discussion that you can have with kids about the situation of bears eating in the forest. We can discuss, well, how many bears could survive? Sometimes I will designate a certain number of food cards that they had to get in order to survive hibernation. Then we can discuss ways we can change our forest to increase the number of bears that can survive. Maybe if there was more food in the forest or less bears competing for that same food resource. Another activity that the Growing Up Wild lesson provides is that they can glue their food cards to a paper plate to see what's my bear been eating for lunch. I hope that you've enjoyed this video lesson and have fun and explore with your kids at home or the students that you educate.